Hi everybody, my name is Priyalani. Today we're going to be going over some Starcraft 2 Zerg strategies. What I want to go ahead and go over is how to improve your army control. Alright guys, let's go ahead and hop right into it. Okay guys, so to begin here, as you can see, I went ahead and spawned up two different teams. On the left we have Zerg and on the right we have Terran. Now what I want to go over today is how to improve your army control when engaging an enemy. Currently right now we have default settings set on our control groups, and as you can see here, it sets it to default in this unit tester for the Zerg units to be on the left, aka team number 1, and team number 2 right here on the right, which is our Terran player. I went ahead and put 20 Zerglings with 4 Banelings in here, and they are all assigned to our one hotkey. So if I were to press number 1 on my keyboard, it will select everything. Same thing if I press number 2 on the keyboard, it is going to go ahead and select everything as well for the Terran player. Now, what we have going on is we have the default keys once again. Now, I prefer to go ahead and have my keys changed. This is going to go ahead and allow me to have more control, because currently right now, since I'm an observer within this game, if I were to select number 1 and essentially press shift 2 to go ahead and add more units into key number 2, it's going to add everything together, and there's currently right now there's not much of an effective way to separate that all. So essentially, if I were to press number 1, I can go ahead and control everything on the left, and now since I have added everything, it's going to go ahead and control both armies at the same time. So let's just go ahead and put these guys over there and then stop everything once again. Now let's go ahead and discuss how we can go ahead and separate everything, so then we can go ahead and change this stuff right here. We're going to go ahead and take it over to the menu right here, or F10, take it into options, hotkeys. Hotkeys is what we're going to be looking for. We're going to take it into global. Now within global, take it into control groups, and here's where you're going to see everything set up for your key bindings for your unit controls. As I mentioned before, right now we have everything selected as default. So control +1, it's going to go ahead and create a control group number 1 through 10. We're going to go ahead and press 1 through 0 to select those control groups. Add to a group. Shift +1 through 10, shift 1 through 0, that's going to be left and right on your keyboard. And here's what we want to go ahead and focus on right here. The create control group 1 and take away units. That's the big part right there, take away units. I know it's created as Alt 1 and all the way through Alt 0, but by default, the way that your hand is orientated, I don't necessarily use the Alt key. So I go ahead and change everything in here. I just go ahead and select all these, deselect them. Okay, so now that you see that we have everything set to control +1 all the way to control +0 for our 10 control groups. So specifically, we're going to be, anytime we press, for example, control 1, it's going to select the units that we have selected at the time. It's going to take those units, create an entire new control group, and if those units are included in any other control groups, it's going to take away those units from those other control groups. As I mentioned before, our current setup, if I were to press number 2, it's going to select everything that we have selected on the field right here. Now keep in mind, this is 2 different teams. We are in observer mode, aka the unit testing mode. But if you were to go ahead and have your own army, it's the same, essentially the same principle that's going on here. So for example, if I were to press number 2, as you can see, everything is selected on the field. I'm going to put these, click it right there in the field to move the units, and I just went ahead and stopped them from there. So let's go ahead and select number 1. Okay, and what's going to happen is now I have everything selected for the Zerg army. I just pressed number 1. This type of practice, it can happen pretty fast once you're in a live game, specifically on multiplayer and especially on the ladder. I press number 1, it's going to select these right here. Now watch this keyboard binding right here. I'm going to press control +2, it's going to take everything that I have selected, create a new control group, and it took away everything that I had right here selected in number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything, put it as to number 1. Okay. Now, one cool thing that I love to practice is controlling the army. I'm going to go ahead and get everything, the upgrades, so then we can get the baneling speed upgraded, aka the roly-polies. That's how Loco TV would announce it. Shout out to that guy. He's a huge inspiration. Now, what I go ahead and do is I select everything for, the specific units that I want to go ahead and control. Now, right here, you're going to want to control your banelings, specifically going up Marine, Medevac, Army composition. Right now, you can go ahead and press Shift +4. It's going to go ahead and add that key, those 4 banelings into key unit number 4. I use number 4 because during a live game, I am using these control groups specifically for different units or buildings. So in this case, I just go ahead and this is what I'm used to. So if I'm controlling everything right here. So essentially, if I were to attack into this army, I want all of my army to move over there, but I want to go ahead and still control my banelings manually. Okay, now same thing, if you want to set something up, right? You're going to set up a concave, etc. And then you want to trap these guys in. It just allows you to do that type of quick maneuvering within seconds. So right here, if I wanted to example use the banelings by themselves, I can just, right now we have the key hot group, but if I wanted to take them away from key control group number 1, I just go ahead and press Control 4 and it takes them out of there. Oops, sorry about that. Let's redo that. Shift +4, it's going to add them into number 4, and then we just select it right there, Control +4, and as you can see, the counts just decreased in number 1 right there. So now number 1 is just Zerglings, number 4 is just banelings. Now I could press the number 4, Shift +1, add these to number 1, and then that's going to be your unit composition from there. I personally disable the F2 all army unit selections. I do not like to, mistakenly select that button and rally all of my units across the map, specifically taking them out of any strategic positions that I place them into. It's kind of cumbersome to deal with, so I just go ahead and deselect that button overall. Right now it is selected because I do have the default key binding set, so that is going to be for the default of the game. Now let me show you an example as to what happens if everything just clashes together without really controlling them, right? I haven't actually tested this head on, but I imagine that the Zerg is going to lose here. That's 24 Marines with 3 medevacs. Let's make sure that these are going to be attacking. I think they attack by default. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything and just press this attack button. Let's see what happens. Huge baneling connections, but as you can see, the Terran is still alive. Okay. Let's see what we can get if we go ahead and control everything. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my army as if I were to be a normal Zerg going up against a Terran. So I'm not going to have any Terran units selected here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add my banelings to number 4 and have them also right here. So essentially, if I were to click number 1, I'm going to go ahead and attack move. So then the Zerglings are going to go ahead and attack along with the banelings, but I'm going to go ahead and control the banelings specifically. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. So as you can see, we had a much better engagement. Since there are medevacs, I could have controlled that a little bit better. There are medevacs. These 3 Marines did survive. Now, if the medevacs were not there, the remaining Zerglings that were left should have been able to pick those up. Let's go ahead and reset it again. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do this. Let's have the banelings just by themselves. We're going to have everything attack. Pull these away. We could just do that type of stuff from there. Alright guys, so I went ahead and added some more Zerglings here. I bumped it up to 35 Zerglings and still kept the baneling count at the same. So let's go ahead and see what we get. Let's go ahead and attack, control the banelings. It's gonna happen quick. Then we can just take these away, attack again, and as you can see, with just that little bit of micro, it goes fast. That's just the nature of the actual live gameplay. But it does make a big difference when you're able to control your army in a more efficient way. That sums up what I want to go ahead and teach you guys today. Let's see if we can go ahead and implement it within a live game. I'll go ahead and show you how I use this in a live game itself, and hopefully it's going to help. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We got our opponent, and we got a ZVZ coming up. Our opponent's name is Chingon. All right, so we got ourselves a ZVZ going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this build order, and as you can see, I'm already implementing the use of our control groups. I have number 2 set to my hatchery, and number 6 as the first overlord. Now by default, I'm gonna go ahead and or not by default, but due to the build order, I'm gonna go ahead and set my second overlord to unit number 5, and I'll go ahead and explain why I do that in another video, as to why I set it as number 5 and why I sent it over across the map early on in the game. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and build through this. Go ahead and go through a build order right now. As discussed, I'm gonna go ahead and make some other videos explaining as to why I do things for a certain way on these build orders. So if you want, go ahead and check out my other videos, and go ahead and follow, subscribe, so you get a notification as to when I upload my videos. I want to go ahead and provide more content to you guys, specifically Zerg strategies, to start out, and hopefully help some people out with their gameplay as far as they're playing Zerg on Starcraft 2. So we got our gas coming up, and then we have our spawning pool next. And as you can see, spawning pool set to number 4. Now for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and go through this build order. I want to go ahead and try and do some Ling Bane unit composition, just so I can show you guys what it's like as to controlling these hot groups and separating everything. I want to go ahead and try and play it a little bit fast for you guys. So just right there, okay, spawning pool finished up, my expansion hatchery finished up as well, and right away I press number 2 and I tap QQ. That's going to give me a startup of 2 queens to start being built within each of the hatcheries, and from there I'm gonna go ahead and make these overlords, because I'm about to get supply capped right there. That would not be good. And as you can see, now I'm at a problem because I have this money, I have larva, and I cannot spend it because I am supply capped. So as you can see already, I'm able to move pretty fast across the map just because of my key bindings that I have set up. And this will allow you to react faster in live gameplay settings, environments, so to say. So then you can have a better chance at beating your opponent. Sometimes you will be behind on, economically speaking, with your from your opponent, which can put you in a little bit of a bind. And overall, you want to try and avoid that. This guy is just too good. But as you can see, even in the midst of being overrun, I'm still able to control my units pretty well. I did put up a good fight. Otherwise, if I did not control my units and my structures, I would have just straight up lost immediately. But I was able to put up a good fight. I'm going to go ahead and give him a GG, back out of this game. And that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and click the notifications button so then you get notified as to when I upload, and if I decide to go ahead and play live for you, you're gonna go ahead and get that notification as well. Give a thumbs up if you liked the video and it provided some value to your strategic gameplay. Let me know in the comment section below as to how this is going to be helping you out and what type of battles that you've engaged from there. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.